Hayes Arcade here with a tech tip video. I'm here today to talk about general game leveling and setting up your tilt bobs so that they are exactly the same across every make, model, manufacturer, regardless of era. So the reason I'm doing that is not everybody sets up their games the same way. If you've ever been to a location or playing competitively with other people and they'll say like I shake the machine this way and I don't tilt, but if I just breathe on it or I just shake it left to right, I tilt out immediately. Well, so the reason that a lot of that can happen is setting up your tilts and leveling your machines sometimes is an afterthought for a lot of people. So I'm just going to go through how I set things up, and I'll show you a special tool that I created that will make setting up your tilt bobs consistently much easier. So without further ado, let's get started. Let's talk about leveling really quick. There's a couple of tools that you can use. You can get a digital level or use a regular old bubble level, but you're going to want something that can measure incline. So there's a free app called PinGuy on for Apple that you can use for that. If you use an old-fashioned bubble level, you're going to need someone that's kind of communicating to you as you're underneath the machine adjusting. So, and with these apps, make sure that you calibrate it before you use it. You'll need a level surface in your house to get that as accurate as you can. Um, what I like to do is I set the front leg levelers screwed all the way in to start, and then the back ones screwed halfway out. What you're looking for EMs up to early solid state is somewhere in the neighborhood of 4 to 5.5 degree pitch, and then uh, the moderns are going to be 6 to 7.5 degree general rule. But you want to be able to have enough incline so that the game plays with some speed, but you also want to be able to make it up the ramps and um, be able to shoot everything. So once you get the playfield set, one of the final steps that I don't think anybody talks about is stand in front of your machine, shake it front to back, and then left to right, and feel if there's any wobble to the legs. If there is, you need to do a little bit more work, maybe a screw turn or two on those levelers to make sure it's solid. And then the very final step, you want to take a single pinball, you want to reach up as far as the playfield will allow and draw an imaginary line leading straight from the middle of the flippers all the way up. And then you want to let go of the pinball and do this several times, watching the arc of the ball as it comes down. If it's not hitting your fingers right between the flippers and it's having an arc, you got more work to do on your left to right level. That's how I approach leveling your machine. Let's talk about tilt bobs. So um, what I consider a loose tilt is anything where the plumb bob is below the ring. If you want to get into tight tilt territory, that's where the plumb bob is getting above the threshold of the ring. So before you even start adjusting that, the most important thing is the stick of your tilt needs to be perfectly centered in this ring, or at least as good as it can be. There's a few adjustments that you can make um, to do that. One is there's a couple of screws on the sidewall of the cabinet that you can move the ring front and back. You can also take a pair of pliers, grab a hold of the bracket that holds the hook of the ring, and you can bend that in or out to move the stick left or right. You can also, this ring should be 90 degrees out from the cabinet, so you have a little bit of adjustability just by bending that. But one thing that you need to do is, so you can see how good you got it, is you want to loosen this tilt bob, move it all the way up as far as it'll go, and then just back it off maybe like 1/8 of an inch, and then tighten up the tilt bob and see where it sits. You should see just a little bit of daylight around the ring, and then grab a hold of the stick and move it left, right, front, and back. It should have the same amount of travel each way that it moves. If it doesn't, you'll need to do a little bit more adjusting. So that's how you can get a really tight tilt if you want that. The last step is using this handy tilt tool that I created. It is a cylinder with a slot cut out of it, and on the bottom side it's the profile of a tilt bob cone. This sits on top of the cone, and all you have to do is loosen the tilt bob, bring it down so that the gauge is on top of the ring, push up on the tilt bob, and then tighten. And that's how you make every single game in your collection the exact same setting.
One thing I needed to mention was something called tilt settle time, and something that I've been using for a while, but apparently it's been around way longer than that, is a dampener for the stick. And so this game actually still had the envelope with the dampener in it. All it is this rubber grommet, and the point of it is to go right through this little eyelet where the hook of the stick goes in, not around the stick, but just through the eyelet. What that does is, as a player tilts out the machine, it's meant to slow down that sway sooner, so that when the next person steps up, they're ready to play. So a lot of people have these just sitting around in their house already. It's just an earplug. You want to pinch that, put it through the eyelet, and what that does is it kind of acts as a brake to help stop the sway sooner, so that the next player can get up and play right away.
Well, there you have it. That's how I set up my machines for the most optimum level, pitch, and tilt settings. I personally use 3/8 of an inch for all of my machines, but I have several different sizes that you can choose from. They'll be listed in my Pinside store. You can check a link in the description to get some for yourself. Thanks for watching.